Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Masterpiece Lounge. I'll give everyone a second to join us. As you join us, say hello in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. I am your hostess, certified life coach, author, and speaker, Chrisnatha Derosier. So, welcome, everyone. All right, so we're going to get right into it. So, today we're going to be talking about following up. The fortune is in the follow up. And so we're going to be discussing that today because that's extremely important in following up with prospects, potential customers, and clients, and some action steps that you can actually incorporate starting today so that make sure that your follow up process is really very thorough, very clear, and so that you get your sale. Right. And so let's make sure that we are following up. If someone is showing interest for every leads that our business has, that we are following up. That's so important. And unfortunately, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, sometimes these steps can fall through the cracks. And so we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. All right. And so the number one thing I want you to keep in mind is promptness. You have to follow up in a timely manner and make sure that your business is top of mind. Okay. This definitely creates an atmosphere of professionalism. So you want to make sure you're not waiting too long to follow up with your prospects. And so make sure that there's a system or a cadence in place for you to follow up. The second thing I want you to also keep in mind is acknowledgement. Acknowledging your prospect for taking the time to speak to you, hearing what your value proposition is, and really getting a feel for who you are and what you do. And so you want to make sure that you acknowledge your prospects and thank them for their time as well. Number 3 in following up as well is a nice recap. So let's say you're following up with an email. You want to recap the conversation, what some pain points were, what the desired goal is, and what steps are going to be taken for that to come to pass. So you want to make sure that you're following up promptly, that you're acknowledging that the prospect has given you some of their time to heal your value proposition. So you want to make sure that you acknowledge that. And then thirdly, that you are recapping what the conversation was actually like. Speaking of value proposition, the fourth thing I want you to keep in mind is the value proposition reinforcement. And so you want to make sure that you're continuing to put out there that your product and or service highlight the pain point that this particular prospect has. And so you are here to solve a problem. So you're reinforcing that. You're making sure that that value proposition is in front of them and that they understand the value that you bring to the table and why they need your product and or service. The next thing I want you to keep in mind is customization. How can you customize your prospect's experience, right? And so you want to consider their preferences. You want to consider their needs. For example, a prospect may tell you, listen, I am bad with phone calls, but I am great with email, right? And so though you have a cadence of doing a certain amount of calls and a certain amount of emails, maybe you want to focus heavy on the emails, right? And so you want to also consider your ICP. You want to consider your ideal prospect, right? Depending on the line of work that they're in. Can they get to a phone call easily, right? Or is it easier for them to answer you in an email when they have some time? And so you want to consider all of these things. There's no one size fits all for every prospect. There might be a pattern if you are only prospecting to a certain group of people, a certain profession. There may be a lot of similarities, but you want to also make sure that you're customizing that prospects' needs and preferences. Okay, so that's going to be super important. Number 6 is a clear call to action. So provide a clear call to action, whether it's scheduling a time to speak with you further, or maybe a download, a resource that you want them to grab. Make sure that that call to action is extremely clear so that they know what the next steps are. And number 7, persistence and consistency. And so you want to make sure that you are following up more than one time if needed. There are some prospects and that you'll have to touch a few times before the deal closes, right? And so you just want to kind of gauge what's going on with each prospect, because again, that's not one size fits all. You don't want to be overly aggressive either. And so you want to make sure that you are still there to answer any questions, that you're being consistent with your communication, but you're not overwhelming the prospect as well. And number 8 is a multi-channel approach. So you want to think about what that looks like for you in terms of multi-channel. That could be email, that could be phone. Maybe people are communicating with you via LinkedIn, right? So you want to make sure that you have more than one channel to work through, and then you can definitely figure out which one works best for you with that particular prospect or that demographic that you're reaching out to. Number 9 is documentation and tracking. And so how are you documenting and following the journey of each prospect? And so I would definitely encourage you to be using a CRM. And so use a CRM where you can track, you can set up follow-up tasks for yourself. That will just make your work a lot less stressful. You'll be able to streamline your work, and you'll be able to track when they open up your email, when they clicked on the link, right? So you'll be able to see all of those things. So I would recommend a CRM, and there's so many to choose from. So definitely figure out which one works best for you and your business. And lastly, number 10, relationship building. You want to make sure that you're building a relationship. Not all outreach equals or ends up being a sale, or it doesn't end up being a sale in that moment. But you want to build that relationship. That could be your champion, so to speak, to connect you with someone else who definitely needs your service and or product, or they may need it down the line. And so build that relationship and just continue to offer value. So if you take these steps, they're definitely going to be helping you in your follow-up process so you can close more deals, make more of an impact, as well as income. So I hope today's segment was super helpful for you, and that you can walk away with some ideas of what to do next in terms of your business. All right, guys. So again, thank you for joining me today in the Masterpiece Lounge. Let me know in the comments how you enjoyed today's segment. I am your hostess, certified life coach, author, and speaker, Chrisnatha Derosier. I will see you back here, same time, same place next week. And until then, be well. Take care.